So I've had enough of Trump's conservative religious cult demonizing so many people and doing it in the name of God in this country. I've had it. These white Christian nationalists promote all these societal norms and expectations like going to college, getting a job and a career, and then having a big family and a bunch of kids to promote the white male patriarchy, even though economic conditions suck in this country right now. We have Vice President JD Vance, an inbred hillbilly who is a white Christian nationalist Nazi who has been demonizing childless Americans for way too long, and I'm getting sick of it and I'm calling him out for it now. This piece of garbage human being has said that women who are in politics are childless cat ladies. And he's also called childless Americans sociopaths. And he's also stated that childless Americans shouldn't have the same voting power that Americans who have families do. And that really scares me, that the vice president of this dictatorship promotes that. I mean, as a childless American myself, I take a lot of offense to that, and it scares me that they're trying to just take more and more rights and freedom away from anyone who doesn't fit into their perfect white, rich American ideology, and it's terrible. I mean, I was brainwashed in government school that all of us who are Americans, or all people in general that live in this country, are created equal, regardless of our race, our gender, or whether we have kids or not. That shouldn't matter as far as what we are as human beings. But I guess I was taught wrong, because this whole Nazi regime of conservatives are just trying to demonize anyone who they don't feel is their perfect version of the white male patriarchy. And I'm getting sick of it. I'm sick of this. In such a free country that they can continue to get away with this. It makes me mad. I mean, they just want to demonize people. And they want to do it in the name of God with their white Christian nationalism by claiming that they're Christians and pro-life, so that it gives them power to demonize anyone they want. This has to stop, because having a family in America, especially at this time, is way more difficult than these Nazis are telling you it is. First off, there are a lot of couples out there who want to have kids, but they suffer with infertility. And I wish that piece of garbage, JD Vance, would have considered that before he made these statements demonizing childless Americans, because that was awful that he was able to get away with that. Also, anyone who has any brains at all in this country, which obviously isn't many people, because more than half of people voted for the adjudicated rapist, white supremacist dictator 3 times in a row, and 8 out of 10 white Christians voted for this white supremacist. That shows how many people we have in this country who claim they're Christian, but they have antichrist values because they worship a white supremacist and all of his Nazi regime and the government control and the corporate corruption they promote. But let's get back to the fact that I'm not brainwashed like most of the rest of these stupid fucking Americans. I take a look at the conditions in this country right now. I don't think it's a good idea to bring more kids into this world with the state of the world right now, especially here in America, where there is a good chance a lot of the future generation won't have a good future if things keep going the way they are. Why would we want to start a family in a country where there's a good chance our kids in the future generation will continue to be poisoned by the food grown right here in America, by the farmers that contaminate it with pesticides and GMOs, and the big egg companies that promote all this stuff and maximize profit while the future generations are getting poisoned, along with our whole generation, with childhood cancer, childhood diabetes, that all these kids are going to suffer with all their lives. If we're that concerned about the future generations, we should really stop these corporations from being allowed to poison us before we let our Nazi regime go around and criticize people that don't have kids. But they're not going to bring that up because they just want to make other people suffer and demonize anyone they want, because they're a bunch of fucking Nazis that call themselves Christians. And then our fascist government also allowed the drug companies to murder kids and injure them with COVID vaccines during this whole COVID pandemic, along with shutting a bunch of businesses down and forcing a lot of us younger generation into isolation. That caused a lot of depression too for a lot of people. How pro-life is that? How free, why would a truly free country and a truly capitalistic system wouldn't have done that? Well, at the same time, all these big corporations on top and all the big drug companies made millions and billions of dollars at everyone else's expense. The government didn't say anything bad about that, did they? So yeah, starting a family is almost impossible in this country also due to economic conditions. Take a look at how much housing costs. Everything's expensive. It's just day-to-day living expenses, the price of land, housing, and then the gas prices, by the way. We've been totally reliant on oil to survive for the last century, thanks to John Rockefeller and all these oil oligarchs that started this over 100 years ago, and the cycle continues as the oil oligarchs in the oil industry screw us over, make it so we're totally reliant on oil to survive, for fuel and for everything. And they can gouge up the gas prices all they want, and no one's gonna question it because they're all stupid and they just play by the rules. And then they can just start up a war in Iran and blow up schools full of kids and then say that's the reason why the gas prices are high. And then too many Americans just believe it and they accept it, especially the conservatives, because they just buy into this whole religious cult because they know it's going to preserve their rich white privilege and they know that their wealth is going to protect them from suffering like everyone else does under this fascist government. And that's why this country sucks, because they don't give a fuck about anyone else. And yeah, if we have a bunch of corporations that continue to hijack our rights promoted by our fascist government, why would we want to bring more kids into this country? I mean, we really got to carefully plan that ahead, thinking about the future generations and what they're going to suffer from the consequences of what we've allowed our government and the corporate America to do. But despite all of this, all these Nazi Republicans like JD Vance, and then we also had before the racist podcaster Charlie Kirk, who's just went around telling people to have a bunch of kids regardless and trying to tell everyone that America is so great regardless of how bad corporate corruption has gotten in this country and government control. But all these Nazis and conservatives that support them have the privilege of being white and wealthy, so none of this affects them like it does to everyone else. So they don't care. They just want to play God with their white Christian nationalism instead of serving God's people and helping the underprivileged. Instead, they'd just rather demonize the underprivileged and blame them for the economic problems in this country. Just blame it on the illegal immigrants or the younger generation for being lazy. And I'm sick of this crap. And they just want to promote the white male patriarchy, white Christian nationalism, so they can use their religion to gain control over us and all of the underprivileged and demonize anyone who isn't a rich, white, powerful, straight person isn't fortunate enough to have a family in this country. And that's what they're going to do. They're just going to continue to do this as a power grab until we put a stop to it. If they truly cared for families in America and potential parents who are worried about having kids due to all these issues in this country right now, maybe they'd address the issues in this country, such as unaffordable and terrible quality health care. Maybe they'd start stopping the corporations from poisoning our food supply and the future generations of kids with these toxic foods and contaminating our air and water. You can thank the oil companies for that too, and these nuclear power plants that they're starting up, that as soon as a nuclear meltdown happens, all the people in that community are going to get cancer later in life after being exposed to the radiation. But all these Nazis still claim that they're pro-life, but they're not, because they don't give a fuck about the future generation. All they want to do is maximize profit and control everyone. And that's what this is all about. And why aren't more people speaking out about it? Why is everyone just going on as normal and just playing by the rules? We have to stop this. We have to shut this country down. We need to quit our jobs, embrace minimalism, shut the economy down, shut the big corporations down, and shut the government down by quit paying taxes. The government did that to all of us and all the small businesses during COVID. So why can't we do it back to them now on a more voluntary basis? Because I'm not happy with what we've allowed to happen. And we just gotta fight. And fight this corporate corruption, fight government control, and all these Nazis that are trying to control us. When is enough enough? Please leave in the comments below if you have any ideas on this or any other similar topics you want me to talk about, because I'm curious what everyone else has to think of how I feel about this. Take care.